Hey, what's up everyone? I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about the Real ID program. I'm going to be a lot shorter than I was in the previous video regarding how much I talk about it. But what you're going to need for this, and they're going to require it or you can't enter federal buildings and you cannot fly. You'll need the proof to establish citizenship or legal presence. You'll need proof of your social security number, 2 proofs of your residency in the state, 2 different proofs, not just one, and you should also be prepared to provide any documentation of name changes if you've had a name change. You can actually list the documents, the full documents, right here. Here are all of the things that you'll need. Proof of citizenship or legal presence, and that includes all of these. You only need one of the following at the top here. Proof of a social security number. That could be a W-2, social security card, payroll check stub, 1099, and a lot of those don't even present the full number, only the last 4 digits. But so you'd likely need your social security card. And you'll need 2 of the proof of your state's residency. It could be a utility bill. It must be one within the past 4 months. A vehicle registration or voter registration. Now here's the thing. You could give a voter registration, but they claim that this bill you can also have a current life or health insurance policy as well. Now here's the thing. I don't know why they have to have the star as an inverse pentagram right there. One of the stars is upside down. You can see it right there. It looks similar to an inverse pentagram. But here's the thing that I have a problem with. They claim that it's for national security, and after 9/11 they decided to create this for voter fraud, for terrorism, and all of these reasons. It helps them to match your face up with a national database, and all countries must comply by 2030, creating an international database of the billions of people with their faces matched up to facial recognition and biometrics. And here's the thing. They say, oh, it's for voter fraud, it's for national security. Check this document out. Check this out on the Real ID document. You'll see on this website here what the Real ID isn't. A Real ID is not a substitute for a passport or for international travel. There are also a few other things that the Real ID doesn't affect. The Real ID requirements don't apply to voting or registering to vote. So that means that illegals can still vote. So that's a loophole right there. Oh, you can vote whether or not you have this Real ID or not. So if it's for security purposes, if it's for the purpose of safety and security, that's their excuse for doing this. And to prevent fraud and voter fraud and all of that, then why is it that you don't have to have it for voting? You can walk in and still vote without this Real ID. That means you could vote with a fake ID. They don't care how you vote. You can still apply for federal benefits, receiving benefits, all the people on welfare and all of that. You can still continue to do what they do. You can be licensed by a state to drive still. Enter federal facilities that don't require any identification. If they say we need your ID, then you must have a Real ID. You can still access your health services, life-preserving services, hospitals and health clinics, law enforcement, or constitutionally protected activities, including a defendant's access to court proceedings, and participating in proceedings or investigations. But here's the thing that I have a problem with. If it's not needed for voting or registering to vote, as seen right here plainly on their website, then how is it going to lower voter fraud? How is that their excuse? And national security. How is that their excuse? All it does is put your face in a national database, linking it with the international databases, and it just adds to this coming system and the one that's already here. But I'm just giving you the bottom line of this. How can it be for our national security and to reduce voter fraud if this ID is not going to be required, but yet we're required to have it, but yet it's not going to be required for voting registration or registering to vote or voting, period? So someone illegal could still just walk in and vote and their vote will count. So they're not worried about that. They're not worried about getting someone in there wrongfully. They don't care. Not that I'm sure they'll ever let it happen again. I'm sure they won't ever let it slip through that they don't get their way again. Who knows? But just saying, talking truth here. You don't, kind of suspicious there. You don't need it to vote or register to vote, but yet you need it for many other things. Simple things. It doesn't make sense. And there's almost like a catch-22 there. It's almost a catch-22, and it's almost like danged if you do, danged if you don't, because you have to have all this documentation, but if you don't already have this documentation, how can you get the original documentation if you don't already have a copy of the original documentation? Copies won't work. They say that you have to have the original documentation. You can't have a copy or a copy of a copy. It has to be the original. So that's a catch-22. How can you have the original if you lost the original or don't have it or never did have it, and you try to apply and get it? How are you going to get it without having... It's crazy. Plus, how is it going to help with voter fraud and reducing illegal voting and immigration if that doesn't even apply to that? Well, it does crossing the border, but it's supposed to help with crossing the border legally and flying for terrorism and crap like that. But how's it going to help with voting? How's it going to help with voting if you don't have to have it to register to vote or vote? Register to vote or vote. Sorry to go on so long, but that doesn't make sense to me at all. So bottom line, the Real ID requirements are a proof of your established citizenship, legal presence. You need to have your Social Security documentation, the original one, and your documentation of any name changes that may have occurred. So you'll need to have the original Social Security number. You'll need to have your any bill or insurance form that has been given to you within the past 4 months. But they claim it. This is, by the way, the Tennessee symbol that you see right there. That's the state of Tennessee. That's the Tennessee symbol that you see right there. I don't know why they put the stars in the middle, but I don't know why it's inverse on the bottom, but that's the way they did it. But the thing is, if it's supposed to reduce, one of the things it's supposed to reduce is voter fraud, then why do you not need it to vote? Tell me that. Peace, much love. Links are below. If you'd like to support, you can check my other videos out and check the QR code to leave a donation if you like my messages and my content. And you can also check the link below. I love you all. Signing out. Peace.